everybody can see right there. You might move the podium when you're doing your presentation.
Put that right in front of me if you want.
Yeah, I'm sure you could. We can do that before you. We're ready to go. Right. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Bill?
Here.
Chris?
Here.
Lynn? Here. Holly Rose is not present.
Motion to waive the reading and adopt the pre-read minutes. Second, all in favor? Aye. Open the public hearing and seek assistance from the IFA Clean Water and State Revolving Fund for the sewer project. Matt will do a presentation on that.
Thank you, Chris. Good evening, board. Again, Lynn. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and read the notice that was published in the paper, and I need to read that to kick off the public hearing on why we're applying and what we're doing. The town of Osgood will conduct a public hearing on Tuesday, April 21st, 2026 at 5 p.m. at the Osgood Town Hall, located at 147 West Ripley Street, Osgood, Indiana, 47037. The town of Osgood seeks to obtain assistance from the Indiana Finance Authority Clean Water State Revolving Fund, also known as CWSRF. The town of Osgood's engineering consultant, Commonwealth Engineers, will present proposed improvements to the wastewater system. At this hearing, there will be the opportunity for questions and comments from the public about the proposed project. Public participation is welcome and encouraged. If special assistance is required at the meeting, please contact the Osgood Clerk Treasurer's Office at 812-689-4240. Copies of the PER will be available for public viewing starting April 9th, 2026 through April 21st, 2026 at the Osgood Town Hall, 147 West Ripley Street, Osgood, Indiana. Written comments regarding this project should be sent to Commonwealth Engineers, Inc., attention Al Stong, 7256 Company Drive, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46237, prior to April 24th, 2026. At this time, I will turn it over to Al and Laura for the explanation of the PER.
Thank you. You want me to face this way?
Whatever you choose.
Hi. Get on camera. My name is Al Stong. I'm the project manager for Osgood Wastewater Utilities Improvements Project. And this is Laura. Laura's the project engineer and did most of the heavy lifting in the report assembly. It was about 20 years ago, if not longer, that we performed our last significant wastewater utility improvements project. At that time, I was the engineer on that project. We performed some significant improvements, including adding the equalization basin, which has aided the town in managing wet weather flows. Since that time, no significant improvements have been performed. And the town hired us to put together an assessment of the treatment plant collection system, identify what issues exist, and what needs to be addressed, and prioritize that. So we performed that study. Part of the study was an asset management plan, tallying your assets, identifying useful life, and items that were beyond their useful life that should be considered replaced or monitored. So in assembling that report, the approach was to identify existing conditions and needs. The good news is the flows to your treatment plant are still within the design parameters of the plant. And the anticipated growth for the community can be supported by the existing treatment plant. There are some improvements, though, that need to occur. So what stimulated this is one of our two clarifiers has been out of service. And both clarifiers are needed to ensure adequate treatment of the effluent. If the clarifier that is in service were to fail, we would have catastrophic issues. We would be discharging in violation of our permit. It would be untreated sewage. So we do need to do something. The extent of the improvements, though, we have to consider financial impact. We want to make sure that we're good stewards of the ratepayers' monies and that we're performing the work within our financial capabilities to afford. So when going through the facilities, I'll identify the improvements recommended at the treatment plant, the improvements recommended at the collection system, the project cost estimate, and the schedule for the project. Ultimately, in submission of this report, we're soliciting financial assistance from the state. So until we know what that financial assistance is, we won't know what the rate impacts are. Once we know the financial assistance and the rate impacts, then the town, the engineer, and the funding agency can coordinate on the ultimate scope to make sure it's affordable. So for the treatment plant, just to emphasize, we do need to repair the east clarifier. The east clarifier is not operational. The equipment in both clarifiers needs to be replaced. So in the east clarifier and the west clarifier, we're looking to reuse those tanks, replace the equipment. There's some improvements to the headwork structure to make sure that it's compliant with national fire protection codes. Right now, there's potential for hazardous gases. So we have some valves that are failed off of our pumps. If those valves fail open or shut, that could have catastrophic impacts with respect to what we need to pump to, and could potentially allow flows to siphon back to the location we're pumping from. We have several control panels where the HMIs are no longer visible. An HMI is the LED display. You look at it to identify how things are operating, push buttons to make sure that you can turn things on and off, see what the flow rates are. With those panels not being visible, we can replace those panels, HMIs, or we could replace the panels completely. The panels are beyond their useful life. They also have what we call PLCs. That piece of equipment is antiquated and is potentially subject to Homeland Security concerns with respect to hacking. So we identified replacement of those panels along with the remaining panels that have those PLCs that are on the OWERC recommendation list for replacement. We have some metering to the equalization tank. Right now, we're not quite sure. We push the flow to equalization. That's in excess of our ability to treat, and then the flow comes back when we're able to treat it. So it's really not a treatment concern, but it is an operational concern. We need to be able to subtract and add these flows in properly so we're reporting properly to the state. The UV system is antiquated. They no longer make that model. The ballasts are close to failure. The ballasts are what allow the UV system to operate and to disinfect the flow. So we could install a retrofitted ballast or we could replace the system. We're recommending replacing the system because if you install a retrofitted ballast on equipment that's beyond its useful life, you're going to have a hard time finding other equipment as it starts to fail. Our oxidation ditch, that's the reactor that runs the treatment process. Motors are beyond their useful life. They're exhibiting signs of failure. We're looking to replace those motors. We have some sludge pumps that we're looking to replace as well, an effluent sampler, and some equipment so that your utility can continue to function at 100%. Two pieces of equipment are a crane truck. Crane truck is what allows us to pull, maintain, and replace pumps and lift stations. So if we don't have an operational crane truck, then we'll have to call individuals in. These activities will be delayed and your costs will be increased from an operation and maintenance standpoint. And we're also recommending a push camera. We're not looking to address any of your sanitary sewers right now, but if utility staff had a push camera, part of their normal functions would allow them to investigate the pipes, identify the areas where pipes look like they're dilapidated, and we could put repair lining of those pipes on annual maintenance budget items. So those are the deficiencies that we identified at the wastewater treatment plant. Those are the recommendations that we incorporated within the PER. I'll move on to the collection system next. You have about a half dozen lift stations in your collection system. The collection system is gravity sewers, and when we can't convey it by gravity, it flows to a lift station. The lift station then pumps to a higher elevation to continue the flow of wastewater to your wastewater treatment plant. So we looked at those lift stations, and there's some minor structural issues at several of the lift stations we identified. With those structural issues, infiltration inflow can enter the lift stations. So right now you're having rainwater, groundwater being pumped by these lift stations to your treatment plant. When it rains, those flows will increase. They have the potential to exceed your capacity to treat. This is a pretty easy fix to line these stations and address the structural deficiencies. So we identified those improvements. We have some valves that are failing in two of the lift stations, Tanglewood and West Eckert. So we identified the replacement of those valves. We also have some pumps that are beyond their useful life. So equipment useful life is typically 15 years. Some of these pumps are well beyond the 15-year lifespan. So we've identified replacement of several of these pumps to be proactive and mitigate potential crises if and when they were to fail. We also have a control panel that we need to replace at the Tanglewood lift station. The age of the existing control panel is such that it's discontinued, cannot really be subject to repairs, so we will replace that control panel. And your portable generator, you did purchase it after my birth date, but not after Laura's birth date. So the portable generator is about 40 years old, and it's time for us to get a new one. We need the portable generator, so if we have a power outage, we can go and we can drive around and run these lift stations, and we're not dead in the water. So those are the improvements in the collection system. Now, that said, your utility was well run and well managed for many years. These things are not unusual for smaller communities across the state of Indiana. And it's just time that we address these issues so that we can have a fresh start for the next 20 years. So these last two boards, they identify the project cost and the project schedule. Project costs, there's never a lack of work to be done. It's just a matter of what can we afford and making prudent financial decisions. This improvements project is estimated to cost $7.3 million. The $7.3 million, we've outlined these costs to the state revolving loan fund. We're asking for some financial consideration. They call it loan forgiveness versus grant. There's something in the statute where they can't identify it as grant. They have to say loan forgiveness. We have received loan forgiveness at the water utility, so our situation is no different now. And we think we present a strong case for loan forgiveness. So the project as presented at a cost of $7.3 million is submitted to the state revolving loan fund so that it can be scored on the project priority list. They'll identify the priority of this project. They'll also look at other financial information for the community, and they'll come back with an offer letter. So right now, there's no financially impactful decisions that are being made. We're just submitting this request so that we can see what the offer is and the corresponding rate impact. And depending upon that offer and rate impact, then we'll regroup and we'll decide next steps. As far as timeline, we've identified a timeline for the project. April is the submission of the PER. Every year, the planning reports need to be submitted by April 1. So we were able to submit that. Typically, you'll receive a letter of conditions, which identifies the agency's ability to finance the project and where you rank on the project priority list. Typically, you'll receive those in July. That date could slip a little bit, but depending upon when they issue those letters, we'll see what our deal is and have conversations. The stimuli for doing this year is this is the last year of the Biden BIL funds. So these agencies have received an influx of funding from the federal government based upon the Inflation Reduction Act. This is the last year those funds are going to be within the state revolving loan fund's budget. So our likelihood of receiving favorable financing is much higher now than it will be in the future. We've identified, based upon the letter of conditions, dates where design would be authorized, dates of receiving construction permit, when the product would be ready to go out to bid, when the construction bids would be received. If everything goes as planned, we're looking at spring of 2028 to commence construction of the project and to be complete in spring of 2029. These are, again, planning level projections, milestone dates, and they're subject to change. With the project, when it's completed, you have a 12-month warranty period. So at the 11-month time frame, we typically come back, perform a complete inspection on the facility, identify anything that could qualify as a warranty repair, make the request to the contractor to perform that warranty repair so that we're maximizing the benefits of that warranty. So that said, that's the scope of your project, that's the costs, that's the timeline. Rate impact right now is dependent upon the offer that we receive. So we would be premature to calculate a rate until we see what the financing package is. Are there any questions?
Good presentation.
Okay.
I'd like to ask if Alex, do you have anything you'd like to add as far as the operator?
No, I mean, I agree with everything that was talked about. A lot of those needs we discussed at the initial meeting, and some of the needs were found along the way when we did the asset management plan, so.
Here's my question, Al.
Sure.
So even if we got the green light to go, it'd be July of 26, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then we wouldn't begin construction till April of 28. Now, how much? That's almost 2 years away. Is that factored into the estimated cost?
The cost estimates are conservative. We have included a 20% planning level bid margin.
Okay.
So that it depends upon what type of inflation you're seeing, what the tariffs
the
are,
unknown.
things of that nature. Typically, if we receive financial consideration from the funding agency. It's to maintain your rates at an affordable level.
Sure.
So they'll look at the dynamics of the community. They'll identify what they feel to be an affordable level. And if they have those funds to give, they'll make that offer. When you take the project out to bid, bids may be high, bids may be low.
Mm-hmm.
If bids come in high, we approach the agency and we ask for additional financial consideration.
Okay. Good work.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Chris, if you would, we have a resolution that the town is accepting the PER, preliminary engineering report. I don't know if I'll defer to Lynn or Tammy. Do you guys read your resolutions out loud or
We got a motion.
Just summarize it.
Motion to approve and adopt resolution 2026-7, the said PER be submitted to the state revolving fund loan program for review and approval. Second, all in favor?
And I do have a sign-in sheet. I'd like everyone to sign that was here for this hearing. So circulate that.
Motion to close the public hearing on the sewer project. Second, all in favor? Aye. Gas budget and updated summary, proposed rate increases for the meter phase and over a 3-year period. Linda, you want to turn this?
I believe it. So this, the gas superintendent had submitted a report basically outlining that there's been a drop in gas consumption across the customer base. Secondary factors, disappearance of tap fee income, loss of reimbursement income, lower penalties, and minor declines in miscellaneous income. He has recommended an increase in the gas rates for beginning July 1st, 2026. The first 800 cubic feet, 8.13 per 1,000 cubic feet. Excuse me, I'm saying 8.13, that's dollars. Next 1,200 cubic feet, $6.68. The next 98,000 cubic feet, $6.28. Over 100,000 cubic feet, $6.02. Then there would be another increase July 1st, 2027. That would be just the same increments, $8.83 for the first 800 cubic feet, $7.38 for the next 1,200 cubic feet, $6.97 for the next 98,000 cubic feet, $6.72 for over 100,000 cubic feet. Then there would be another increase phased in the third year, July 1st, 2028. Those increments are $9.52 for the first 800 cubic feet, $8.07 for the next 1,200 cubic feet, $7.67 for 98,000 for the next 98,000 cubic feet, and then $7.41 for over 100,000 cubic feet. So what we're doing tonight is you're preliminarily adopting this rate increase, if that's what you want to do, and then authorizing me or giving me instruction to go ahead and publicize public notice for this for the hearing to be at your next meeting on May 19th.
Lynn, do you know off the top of your head how this compares to our current rate?
Can
Do you know off the top of your head how this compares to our current rate?
I believe it's in the report. There's like the last page is a spreadsheet.
Okay.
We sent it to you guys in an email.
Oh, Steve?
Yep.
Okay.
It was, I think I had sent it also. So there is a summary in the report that says, the numbers are a little bit different. 2,500 cubic feet per month, typical residential. The way I read this is currently is $15.91. That'll be increased $21.13 over 3 years. And then for 5,000 cubic feet per month, it's $29.86. That's increased to $40.31 over 3 years. 10,000 cubic feet, $57.76, increased to $78.66 over 3 years. 20,000 cubic feet, currently $113.56 per month, increased to $155.36 over 3 years. And then for 50,000 cubic feet per month, $280.96, increased to $385.46 over 3 years.
Motion to adopt the proposed rate increase. Second, all in favor? Aye. Motion to have Lynn proceed with publishing a public hearing for May 19th, 2026 at 5 p.m. Second, all in favor? Ordinance 26-4.
So this is just to update the ordinance establishing right-of-way excavation, road cuts, and bore permits. I had emailed everybody the existing with the notations from Steve as to what was changed and why it was changed. So what you have in front of you is the final. But basically, it's just updating deficiencies in the current ordinance.
Motion to approve 2026-4 for the first reading. Second, all in favor? Dustin, here to planning area. Yep. Tripoli County area planning.
So as the Osgood representative, you guys probably know interviews are currently being conducted for the building director. Current building director's last day is May 29th. And we had interviews last week. The position's still open. They're still accepting applications. I don't know if there's been any more submitted, but that'll go for another couple weeks, I believe. But why I'm here is the topic of the building director right now is salary. The current salary for the position is about $55,000. And there's a range, you know, when people apply, they filled out what they want. So there's a range of what the applicants are, you know, proposing they're looking for. But area planner, say out of Ball State, entry level for a quality applicant is about $80,000. So the couple of the board members are going back to county council because they're going to request, you know, if they can increase the salary any. But the planning commission also wants to come to the towns and see if the towns are interested in putting any money toward this position. Because as you all know, this is a very important position that has some pretty drastic consequences if things go wrong. And it's not out of the ordinary for this. I'm told that maybe Dearborn County does something similar where these different municipalities put in for a position like this. So we're looking for a commitment from Osgood just to say, yeah, we'd be interested in putting forth X amount of dollars for a position like this. Not just for a specific applicant that we have now, but future applicants too, because, you know, we might get one that's there 5-10 years. When we open this position back up, we want to get another quality person in there. So that's my ask today, is that the town consider, you know, putting a number to paper, or a range. 3,000 to 5,000's been thrown out there. Nothing's concrete, but this would be a yearly commitment to this position. And we're going to take that in our back pocket to the county, see what the county is willing to potentially increase, and then like I said, have that from each town in our back pocket so we can potentially meet the salary.
So the way that you can do this is through an interlocal agreement with the county and any other participating communities where you would agree to pay so much toward the salary per year. In return, you may, have like some say into who the candidate is or who ultimately fills that position, and that would determine whether or not you're contributing that year or not. So those are different things that you can just sort of tweak with the interlocal agreement. I think what basically they just want to know is, I don't know that they're going to be able to come up with a dollar amount tonight
Sure.
necessarily.
Yeah.
But if you're interested in proceeding in this type of fashion, and then I can work with the county's attorney or the other communities that may be interested in coming up with an interlocal
Yeah.
agreement.
And there's benefits to hiring a higher level applicant, obviously. Like these planners, they can write ordinances, they can apply for grants, enforcement, stuff like that. So there is going to be, some benefits for the town. It's not just going to be forking out money and not getting anything in return. And then obviously making sure that appropriate permits are issued. It should be.
I'd be for it. They'd give us some skin in the game,
Exactly.
and, we'd have to determine what that amount would be. But,
So are you saying is 80,000 about the range?
That's the
That you're
top of
looking
the
at.
range, yeah.
And then the current, you said is 55,000 is what's been budgeted for it?
Yes.
Okay.
And there is money that they're getting for some ordinance for the county, that they got money towards that too. So they're taking that into account, even like they wouldn't have to potentially hire consulting for ordinances, because these, like I said, these planners will write ordinances and then usually work with the county attorney to implement them. So there's savings there as well.
so. Make a motion to.
I think, yeah, you would just need a motion that you would be interested in entering into an interlocal agreement to contribute to the salary for the new building.
I'd be interested, Dustin, but first of all, I'd like to know what the county's gonna pull me up and pay first. I mean, that's their employee. But
Yeah.
If we help, or everybody helps add to it, as we've learned, we have little to no say in any decisions that are made or how this person proceeds for what they do. I mean, to me, if we're helping pay the salary, we ought to have more input on what, first of all, like I say, who's hired. And I don't have anybody in mind, let me be clear, but in how they perform their job. I mean,
It'd be renewed year to year.
I guess we could always, if need be, I guess we back out in year two, I guess, but that would be a bad way to go, because that leaves that person
be a bad
sitting
way to
there
go.
high and dry. I mean, that's the bad part.
Yeah, I mean, I would think there's got to be some sort of timeline commitment on something like this. I don't know what it would be, but yeah, legitimate concerns. And I don't know if you're going to exactly have a hand in picking who it is, because
It's not my job to pick that. That's
Right.
their employee. Let them pick them. But that's my concern is, okay, we're helping pay this person's salary, which that's fine, but then we'll have little to no say in what they do, what their job duties are, because that'll be determined on the county level. And I think we've experienced that in the last 3 years with some decisions that have been done here.
yeah, and I mean, that's what we're trying to alleviate, right? And getting a qualified person there, know how that position actually is supposed to work.
I mean, I would be personally, I'd be interested in looking into it and potentially pursuing it, but I'm, until I get a better, again, my big question is, what's the county willing to pay? Where are they going to be at to pay? How much
Right
are
now,
they?
they're at 55,000.
I know, but they're showing, it shows that their pay rates or their pay levels are on kilter with the current market. So
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a couple members going back to the county council too, because they've been a couple times and getting some feedback. There hasn't been an actual number, but I think they're trying to press them on that a little more now. And they're not going to take numbers from the town to the county and say, here's what you're getting from each municipality. What do you got? You guys want to cover the rest? They're going to see what the county will put out there, max, without knowing. And they're just going to have this kind of in the back pocket, like I said. So I don't know if that's what you're saying or not. I don't think the county's gonna really exactly know how much they gotta, offset because of what the towns have put in or not.
That's kind of where I was going.
Yeah.
If they find out that each town's gonna give 5,000, that means, okay, they only need to come up just a hair and they've got an employee. So, because the towns are gonna help subsidize that person.
And like I said, they're not far, off. There's money set aside for consulting for variances or ordinances that, could be done in-house. So, yeah, the plan is to go to them first, not reveal anything like that to them to see what, okay, here's what we're willing to put up max.
Okay.
But then, able to hire someone fairly soon after that if we know that there's money coming from the towns as well, and not keep pushing it off for months and months, because we are getting close to not having a planning director at all for the time being. So that's all I got.
Motion to move forward with this contingent on funding availability.
And being able to reach an interlocal agreement.
Yeah, okay.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor? Aye. Matt, you want to go over the projects or you want me to bust through? 25 community crossings. Due to weather, asphalt plants remain closed. No additional construction taking place since last report. Contractor is scheduled to complete construction within the month of April, with milling and paving scheduled for early May. Motion approved Commonwealth's claim for $424 for construction engineering.
About 424.66, okay, yes.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Motion to approve a consort display group's claim of $4,500 for 50 Metro brackets. Second. All in favor? Aye. Motion to approve Summers Metals claim of $765 for trash can holders. Second. All in favor? Aye. Osgood was awarded, this is a 2026 Community Crossings Grant. Osgood was awarded funding under Senate Bill 179, and DOT has tentatively awarded $790,000 pending the execution of the contract. Dave O'Mara produced the lowest bid for the work. A recommendation to award the contract to O'Mara is in today's agenda. Motion to award and sign a contract for the 2026 Community Crossings project to Dave O'Mara contractor. Second. All in favor? Aye. Pre-construction meeting was held on April 15th. Pending local approval, notice to proceed will be effective May 1st. 90 days are allocated for the contract to reach substantial completion. An additional 30 days is provided for final completion. Motion to approve Commonwealth's claims of $2,700 for final design. Second. All in favor? Aye. Wastewater, we've already viewed that. Water improvements, service line project and lead service line project. 16 right of entry forms have been identified as having galvanized lines and have been approved. 2 have been refused. 8 homeowners with galvanized lines requiring replacement have not returned a right of entry form. Final round of letters were mailed to homeowners on April 1st. These letters include right of entry forms and last call for lead service line inspection. Commonwealth will assemble a plan for another outreach through mailers or door knocking. Refusals that are known galvanized will be reviewed with the water utility to determine if the town can intervene or if these will remain on the list. Pre-construction meeting for both projects was held at Town Hall March 15th. Meeting minutes and attachments have been delivered. First construction meeting for the project has been scheduled for April 22nd at the Town Hall. Construction is expected to begin in May, but official schedule has not yet been received. The signed easement for 624 Wilson Street has been received for the homeowner. Family has the original and the easement has been recorded. There's a cost trafficking. Looks like non-contingency or non-construction cost on the water project, $256,000. On the lead service line project, $313,000. Nothing's been billed for construction yet. And no contingency has been used.
Motion to approve Commonwealth's claim of $20,566 for bidding and negotiating erosion control easement assistance, regulatory assistance, legal finance assistance, field investigation survey, and service line evaluations for the lead service project. Lead service line project. Second, all in favor? Aye. Motion to approve Commonwealth claim of $9,800 for bidding and negotiating and BABA compliance for the water improvement project. Second, all in favor? Aye. Motion to approve Baker Tilly's claim of $4,400 for negotiating water wholesale contract with Napoleon Water. Second, all in favor? Aye. Motion to approve professional service agreement for labor standards administrators with Services for $12,000. Second, all in favor? Aye. One bid has been received for the lease of 240 West Craven, Duncan Robertson out of Franklin, Indiana. Motion to accept Duncan Robinson's bid of $1,700 per month, sign the lease agreement for West Craven. Second, all in favor? Aye. Osgood was awarded the $50,000 Okra grant for the comprehensive plan. Then I do want to talk about Oktoberfest. I would like to see what I think. I'm sad we're not having it this year. It's big for the community. I guess what I envision is the town council naming a 3-person board for Oktoberfest and start planning for Oktoberfest 2027 as soon as possible. And we'll see if we can get plenty of volunteers and help for that to continue this for next year and for all. So I would propose the town make its normal contribution to Oktoberfest this year.
So can we table that maybe for 1 month? I thought we were.
Yeah, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it right now.
Yeah, okay.
I forgot we were talking about that.
You're just that excited about it.
Dustin, you got anything else? Thank you. Kyle, how you doing?
Good. I wanted to come up and address a few things. I sent you guys an email with a proposal for equipment for firefighters. First and foremost, I think for us to be successful and continue the service that we provide, communication has to be better. The second email that I sent was only because I never got a response from anybody. So, just a response saying, hey, got your email, we'll discuss it. Something, so I know you guys are at least reading the emails. Two, we're asked more and more to provide more and more services. So far, to date, we've been called for service 58 times, with March being substantially higher than January and February. We have brought on several new members at this time, and currently Steve Wilhoit, Mike Goddard, Candy Goddard, Charlie Karff, and Dylan Rickey all need new gear. That is not something that financially we can do. We've got about $29,000 left on our budget, and we're only in April. We still have to do pump testing. We have to do ladder testing. We have to do hose testing. We still have the lease payment on 333. So we're going to be stretching the $29,000 to even get to December. Not only that these testings, they're required annually. That can reflect to our ISO rating that I'm very proud that I was able to improve to what we are today, and I would like to keep it that way. Engine 332, which is one of the engines that we wanted to replace with the Reynolds Foundation, and with your guys' help, the Reynolds Foundation did turn our grant down. That engine is going for service next week. It's got an electrical issue that nobody can figure out. So it has to go to Indianapolis, and it will be out of service for an extended period of time. We've got a current issue with several of our portable radios. Currently, we have 8 radios that are not operational. We did a $40,000 grant with the Rising Sun Regional Foundation. They did award us the grant, but they knocked us down to $15,000. We're only able provide 6 radios with that amount of money. I've already discussed, we were denied the Reynolds Foundation. We were awarded an AED grant through the state, and we also got a small grant through the Ripley County Community Foundation for medical equipment that we needed. What I'm here basically is to discuss the quote that I sent you due to the following, we can't afford to purchase that equipment. The PPE replacement, and just for June's budget, I would like to propose an increase in our annual budget. I don't know where that money comes from. I don't know, whether it comes from the public safety tax or if it comes from somewhere else, but I don't think we can continue with the amount that's required every year on, $42,000 a year. We are still fundraising. We are still writing grants. We're getting ready to send a mailer out to all the residents asking for donations. We're still involved with the Ripley County Fair. We're actually proposing us maybe doing a gun raffle, but flipping burgers isn't going to cut it anymore. We're not going to quit doing that. We're going to continue to fundraise, but I'm here, asking, better communication and, helping, with this cost. The gear, some of the guys that we did bring on, I had no gear to even put them in, period. And some of the gear is out of date. Steve Wilhoit is currently in gear that's out of date. And like I said, some of them have no gear. So that's what I brought to your attention. I understand that there, may be a discussion afterwards or in the future. But these are my needs.
I understand that. I guess as a board, we would just like a little more notice. It seemed to me that you emailed us an invoice.
Oh, no, it was a quote. That was 100% a quote, and it was just asking to use those funds. And in the past, and I even went back and looked at all the minutes, and I could not find in the minutes. We discussed after the third year of that public safety tax money that it'd be a 60-40 split. At one time, you proposed, I don't know, it's your guys' money. I don't know why you guys aren't in control of it. And then Lynn, I think she advised that you have to, as a board, have to award the money, or not award the money, but approve the money. And then the last email I got, you said that I was supposed to give you 6 months notice.
That may have been an internal discussion that we had on
And, I didn't have any record of that. And I didn't find that in any of the minutes that were online either.
We would like notice of these things. Now, these things have to be paid by June. That's.
No, he's requesting additional funding for the 2027 budget. But I need to know that by June,
I got you.
because that's when I prepare my 2027 budget.
Yeah.
This public safety tax is changing.
Yes. So, at the end of the year, that agreement, or however it was written, is, I guess, expiring, and then the county has to reapply for it, from what I understand.
So.
And I have not heard discussion on whether they are or not. If it's going to be a decrease, I have not heard from the commissioners.
But any money that gets spent from the public safety lit fund has to be approved by council.
Yes. So is this something this is just you're making a request for next year's budget?
So what I emailed them, I asked to use public safety tax money for. There's a list of, there's equipment that we've used on fires. There's equipment that needs replaced. There's, PPE that we need to put firefighters in that I've asked to use the public safety tax money for. But I'm asking the town board to consider an increase in our annual budget for 2027.
Okay. So you need a more immediate answer on
The public safety tax money.
safety, right? And then just request then
Yeah.
when they're redoing the budget to increase your
Yes.
funds.
What was that quote for?
I don't have it printed out, but I think it was around 21,000. I might be able to look it up. That quote was for $23,455.76.
I guess my question, Tammy, is we have $24,000 available?
And public safety.
Yes.
We do.
We do? I make a motion.
Second. All in favor?
So to clear up, in the future, how would you like me to, I guess, approach the town board with projects that we need help funding?
Well, I guess when I read this, if you can just make sure that it's clear there's a quote attached, that you have a quote for it.
Mhm.
Because when I read it, I thought it was an invoice.
Yeah, I think it says quote right on it.
It does on the.
Yeah, on it
Email
itself, it says quote right on it, so,
Yeah, state
but
that.
I don't know that I had quote in the, in the actual,
Yeah, state that in the body of your email, please.
I mean, I think my thing, Kyle, would be is when you start to, it comes onto your radar that we're gonna need new equipment for Steve Wooley. It's gonna cost X amount of dollars. That the town's involved from the beginning, unless you've got money for flipping burgers or your fair or whatever you referred to, that could pay for the new equipment, or if you.
yeah, and that's what we use our, the town account for. So to be truthful and honest with you, the $29,000 in there, I don't think it's gonna stretch to the end of the year, especially with the unknown. I instructed Fire Service Inc. not to do any work until they got us a quote. But I do know for a fact that all the circuit boards that are in the dash have already been wired around because those parts are not available anymore. So where this electrical problem is, I don't know. We've instructed them not to do any work until we get a quote back to see, hey, is this 30-year-old truck worth putting this money into? So, but that's, kind of where we came about with, we were trying to get approval from Reynolds Foundation, and I understand, that was pretty rushed by getting a letter of approval from the town to order a new truck. But that $1.275 million truck is over $1.3 million already, and that was just done in February. So I'm trying. I understand, you wanted to save money with leases, but I'm trying to get it done before we can't afford it.
Yeah. I just, notice if you could, I guess your fiscal year starts in June.
I have to start preparing the budget in June for us to adopt.
So if we could get some of those replacement costs for the next year in that budget originally, and then we're not doing this in April.
Okay.
So,
and I will,
this is expiring.
things to be, kind of cautious about too, when they come and do hose testing, if they fail 20 sections of hose, that's not something that we can do without.
Correct.
So, that may be something that's sprung very quickly, like, hey, are you going to, can you help us out? So, I don't see that happening. All of our hose is pretty up to date, but our ladders, if a ladder fails, it breaks when it fails. We're going to have to replace it. So, that's stuff that.
Gear and things, when it's going out today, it's likely shown in your beginning of your budget.
Okay.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Alex, you got anything? Ladies in the back?
Yes.
Yeah. Come on in.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Sally Springer. Tim Springer, myself, we live on the corner on Cherry Street. So I'm not here for a Save My Tree campaign, like along the sidewalk by my house. I have like 5 very tall pine trees, about 70 feet tall. So 2 weeks ago, I stopped by the town office. Tim drives the school bus. So I just really stopped by to see how will the driveway look, because Tim parks the bus at the house, that kind of thing. The town employee came out and, you know, kind of said what was going to happen. And then, you know, we talked about my trees, and I mentioned that in August, I was going to have one of them taken down. So he mentioned it would be great if I could get it done within the next few weeks before May 1st, because the whole sidewalk was going to be ripped up. And that way, if there was a new sidewalk put down and then I had the tree, if they broke the sidewalk or something, he said, somebody's going to get a bill. And I said, well, I'm not going to get the bill. He recommended another person. I already had somebody come out. That same week, on a Saturday, a couple weeks ago, the tree service came out. Even if there was a brand new sidewalk, they weren't concerned at all. But he did mention that I should ask that it's going to kill my trees because the roots, and the sidewalk isn't buckled. And you know, like the gully right there that the town employee said was going to be dug up, and there'll be storm drains. You know, that's probably where the roots are going for the water. So anyway, I came back to the, he came on a Saturday, I came back the following week, and the lady at the front, she called the employee on the phone. So he said, and I told him what the tree service said, questions I should ask. And he said, you know, we're basically just going to have to see what happens. If we take down a tree, we plant 2 trees. And I said, okay, that's fair. So that was that. And then, okay, so then last Thursday, one of the town truck was right there at the corner of my street. So I asked him, does this employee have a boss? Because I just need more like concrete information of what's going to happen and when, so I could get the timing of my tree taken down, because I'd have to ask for the road to be closed, you know. So they told me about this meeting. Well, they must have called this other person, because then he came back to my house. He was talking to Tim. So I went outside, and then we were over by the sidewalk, and he said, I don't know what the problem is. I don't know what you're so concerned about. You're not even getting a sidewalk. And so I've just been told 3 different things. And I even told this person, you know, I'm going to take a vacation day and come to the board meeting. And he said, you know, I would never take a vacation to waste my time coming to the board meeting. And I said, this interaction makes me nervous and anxious, just like I am up here talking.
That's fine.
So I'm here because just over 2 weeks, red flags have been waved because I've been told 3 different things. I'm very happy for the town project. I live here. You know, this employee told me that this whole grant happened because his application had 0 mistakes on it, and other applications did have mistakes, and that he got a call, and that's how we got it. So it's wonderful. I live here. But I've been told 3 different things. And so my concern, of course, is more than likely, am I getting a sidewalk? Were plans changed to skip my sidewalk because of, you know, the trees are going to be killed? I mean, were plans changed? Was I going to get a sidewalk and now I'm not?
I showed you the plans that day you came in.
I mean, you guys laid out the plans,
Right.
and
Where
wait,
your trees are, that sidewalk is not being replaced.
Okay,
There's only a section right on the corner that I told you was probably because of ADA compliance.
which is what the employee told me the third time that he just came to my house. Okay, when I came the very first time, yes, you guys asked me to come back and laid out the plans, and I'm not here to look at your blueprints and all that. I just had concerns with Tim and the school bus,
It looks to me. It looks to me like your sidewalk under your trees is not being replaced. There's a new ADA ramp going in on Cherry Street.
Mm-hmm.
And then down Maple, there's a sidewalk being replaced to put a culvert in
Down at the next intersection.
at the next intersection.
Right. So is that correct?
That would be correct.
That's what's on the
That is a
plans.
stamp drawings, that is what will be built.
Okay, so that is correct. Nothing was changed. So,
These are, I assume these are the for construction drawings, and that is what will happen.
And I have the original plans in there if you want to look at them instead of.
That's what.
again, I'm here because I was told three different things.
No, it looks to me, it looks to me like your sidewalk's not getting touched. I kind of do a little bit of stuff for a living, so I wouldn't touch your sidewalk because I wouldn't get paid for it.
It doesn't matter to me. I don't walk the sidewalks, but there's many people in the town that do,
Yeah.
I could care less.
Yeah, it looks like your sidewalk's staying.
What about, when you dig the drainage pipe? And this is, honestly, we all know this is about my financial future of, when I have 5 70-foot pine trees that are now dead.
Yeah.
And costs approximately $2,000 to $2,500 a tree to come out.
It looks to me by this drawing that there is a culvert, a new culvert.
I mean, you guys knew I was coming because I said I was, and that's why the plans are here.
Remove existing pipe slab and head walls. I can't answer that from this drawing. This drawing does not show the ditch filled in, but I don't know if this is a storm drawing.
A what?
I don't know if this stormwater is included on this drawing. This is just sidewalks look like road improvements.
Like there's the sidewalk and then the road and there's like a gully or whatever.
Yeah, by this drawing, I can't.
Because he said in front of my house, they'll dig it up like they did on the other side and put the drainage pipes in.
You have a full set of drawings for this.
And,
Let's look at them and see.
which honestly is fabulous because I've lived there 7 years and I've never had a problem in my front yard. And last winter, now half my yard will hold water.
Let's look at this and see.
So I know they've had, water breaks in the pipes this year.
Jerry. Across from Cherry, maybe. Jerry.
There's a curb. Well, okay, we'll close the meeting out. We'll take a look.
And I just want to say, like, Tim Springer was there the whole time, both times that we talked to the employee. So we didn't imagine the first time when he said, that the whole sidewalk's going to be ripped up and the, new sidewalk and the tree, and then told
It's the
something.
same guy every time, or same person every time?
Yes.
It's funny, because from the first meeting to the third meeting, the story changed up. Totally.
That's why I've taken vacation day and I'm
That's why you're
here.
here, okay.
Many red flags.
Sure.
And, that way it is, I am here to put it on the record of the concern in a couple years or next year, when these trees dies, because will there be financial help or a grant for me to take those 70-foot trees down? How does that work if the town project kills it?
If the town project causes any damage, we submit it to our insurance company and they go from there.
But what if it doesn't, what if it takes a year or two because the tree service said, it could take a couple of years for it to fully die?
It's the same. We would submit it to the insurance company. They would investigate, determine whether or not the town caused that or if it was from another source or not. So we just turn it over to insurance like anybody else does.
So in the meantime, when this project starts, do I have to be that resident that's taking video and, I've called an arborist and stuff and to make sure my trees are,
So that's where you should probably, I'm the town's attorney, so
Right.
you should probably consult an attorney to see
I have,
what they think you need to do.
I have.
So there will be storm put in the ditch
Right,
in front of your sidewalk.
Right.
Your sidewalk stays. There'll be pipe put in the ditch in front of your sidewalk.
so again, the trees are the roots and all that, so how does that play out as far as?
I don't know. I'm not a tree guy. I don't know. I'm not a tree guy or an attorney, so I don't know how that works.
Okay.
I can speak to that if you'd like.
Okay.
I'm an engineer with the Commonwealth. Typically what we do is we look at the canopy of the tree. So the leaves on top, and if the canopy extends over top the area of excavation, that's where the roots are anticipated to be.
Mhm.
So there could potentially be impacts to the roots if it's within the tree canopy.
Okay, all of that is true.
So do the plans illustrate it within the
You can
tree
see
canopy?
right here. I haven't found the next sheet on it yet.
I mean, honestly, I wish the person that put this together just said, your trees have to come out. Just get it done and let's be done, because this is very uncomfortable for me.
We'll have conversations after the meeting.
Especially because of the employee that it is, and I rarely come here. I really don't know anybody in town, I just love it here and live here.
So you're lucky we have the engineer
Yeah,
here. So,
yeah.
so if we can close out our meeting though, because this really isn't.
Kay
And
has
then
something real quick to say.
we can close out our meeting and if you can just stick around.
Yeah, if you just let Kay speak real quick, she had a couple concerns. Thank you.
Hi. I have a concern about the project also because I live on, well, my address is Walnut Street, but our garage is on Cherry Street.
Okay.
And when the project starts, where are we supposed to park? Because there's the three of us houses there on Cherry Street that have driveways that go.
They always make accommodations. I think that was something that they talked about at our last pre-construction meeting, and that's something that the contractor was going to deal with once they got to that area.
Okay, because when the contractors were there last year, they always parked on the Walnut Street, right in front of our house and that. But if we have to park there this year, where would the contract people park?
I'll have to figure it out.
See,
We'll
It's-
talk to the contractor and have it dealt with.
okay. Because I didn't know there was not enough room for all three of us to park on Walnut Street because of all the cars that are there already.
And BF&S, who these young men are with, they'll have a representative out there. If there are any issues, you can go to them.
And then our driveway goes right to Cherry Street. Now, would they be taking any of that up for,
Looks like you're getting a new driveway entrance. And they'll work with you on that if they do half that at a time, or how they do it. They'll work with you on that.
okay.
Make sure they're not gonna cut you off where you can't get to your house.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, because I always park my car in the garage.
Yeah, they'll make sure, yeah.
Okay,
I think they redid ours a few years ago, and maybe 2 or 3 days I couldn't get in the garage, was it? They had the street parking available then.
are they gonna put like a curbing down on that side or a sidewalk?
Looks like this curb.
Okay,
You're at 445?
yes,
Yeah, you're just getting curb.
okay. Because I've been told both.
No, you're not getting sidewalk. Looks like neither side of the street's getting sidewalk.
Yeah, because I know it's not wide enough for two cars to go down that street anyway.
Yeah. It will be when it's done.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? I'll move to adjourn. Make a motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor? Aye.